Alright, so we need to solve this equation, so we're looking to find what x equals. So I see x is being multiplied by 3 and then subtracted by 7, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So I get 3x equals 12, because 5 plus 7 is 12, and negative 7 plus 7 is 0. Now I have 3 x's, but I only want to know what 1 is, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. And then I end up with x equals 4, which is B. Question number 2. It says there are 3 inches of snow on the ground. After 4 hours, there are 10 inches. Write an equation to represent the snow after h hours. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little table here for the inches of snow and the time. So these are hours, and over here we have inches of snow. So at the beginning, there's 3 inches of snow, and after 4 hours, there's 10 inches of snow. So now using this table, I can write an equation. I see that the snow went up by 7 inches in 4 hours. So I can take 7 and divide it by 4, which gives me 1.75. Now, already I can see that only one of these has a slope of 1.75, so I know it has to be D. But I can also see that my y-intercept, or my output when input is 0, is also 3. So D is correct. Alright, question number 3. Write an equation of a line that passes through the point 3, negative 5, and has a slope of 2. So I can always start with y equals mx plus b to help me out when I'm trying to write an equation. And I need to just look at what I know. I know that the slope is 2, so that's my m. And then I also have a point, which gives me an x value and a y value. So first thing I'm going to do is plug in my m, so then I have y equals 2x plus b. Now I'm going to use my x value and my y value to finish it up. So my y value is negative 5, and then my x value is 3. I can simplify this. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I want to find b, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, which will give me b equals negative 11. So here I have my slope of 2, which all of these equations have a slope of 2, and then my b value is negative 11. So my equation should be y equals 2x minus 11, which is C. Alright, so this equation is a little bit weird because we have x's on this side and x's on this side. And I just want to find out what x is equal to. So somehow I need to get all those x's on the same side. I see that there's less x's on the right side, so I'm going to try and get rid of those. So I'm going to subtract 2x, because 2x minus 2x is 0. I'm going to subtract 2x on the other side as well. So now I have negative 20 on the right side. And on the left side I have 6x minus 2x is 4x minus 8. Now I just have a regular two-step equation like number 1. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And I really recommend checking using your calculator because negative 20 plus 8 is negative 12. And I know a lot of you would put negative 28 or positive 28 or all kinds of different stuff. So just make sure you check that. Alright, now I'm going to divide by 4 and divide by 4 because I have 4x and I just want to know 1x. Negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3, which is B. Alright, so with this one I really need to think carefully about the order that the operations are happening. I see x is first being added by 9 and then divided by 3. So first added by 9 and then divided by 3. So if I want to do those inverse operations, I'm going to need to multiply by 3 and then subtract 9 in that order. So first I'm going to multiply by 3. That gets rid of this division by 3. So now I have x plus 9. And then 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, and I end up with x equals 3. I can even check this if I wanted to by replacing this x with a 3. 3 plus 9 is 12, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I know it makes sense. Alright, number 6. Which is the solution to this inequality? Well, this is just like an equation. I can solve it. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. Negative 5x is less than 20. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. Divide by negative 5. And I get 20 divided by negative 5 is negative 4. Now there is one weird thing that we have to do with inequalities. When we multiply or divide by a negative, we need to change the direction of that inequality sign. So it changes from less than to greater than. So C is our answer. Alright, so we need to figure out which equation matches this graph. So there's two important things that I need to think about. One is my y-intercept, which is right here. Okay, so it looks like all three of these have y-intercepts of negative 1, but D doesn't, so I know that's wrong. Now let's check out the slope. I can pick out two perfect points, like these two, or maybe these two, it doesn't really matter. And from one of these to the next one, it looks like we go down 1 and then over 3. And then down 1 and over 3. So my slope is going to be negative 1 over 3, which is C. Number 8, solve the equation. So I see parentheses with a number on the outside, so I know that this means I can distribute this multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Now I have a regular two-step equation. I can subtract 12 from both sides and get negative 6h equals 48. And then divide both sides by negative 6. So I get 1h is equal to negative 8. 48 divided by negative 6 is negative 8. So the answer is B. Write an equation based on the table of values below. Alright, so I know that there's two things that I'm looking for here. I need to know my slope and I need to know my y-intercept. So first thing I can do is look for my slope. This is a little weird since there's all these negatives, but I know that from negative 5 to 6, that went up by 6. And from 1 to 3, it went up by 2. So my slope is going to be 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Now looking at these, this one has a slope of 6, so it's wrong. This one has a slope of negative 3, so it's wrong. So it has to be either B or D. Now we need to find our y-intercept. To do that, I can use my y equals mx plus b. I already know m, so I have y equals 3x plus b. And then I can pick any two numbers. I'm going to use these two because they're positive, so I think that's easier. So y is 1, x is 3, 3 times 3 is 9, and then I can subtract 9 from each side. So I get b equals 1 minus 9 is negative 8. Now I also could have known that by looking up here. I see that when y is negative 17, x is negative 3. Since x is negative 3 and not 0, I know that this is not my y-intercept. So I could have eliminated that answer as well. Okay, write an equation of the line that passes through the 2 points, blah, 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 blah. So I think that whenever I see 2 points, I like to organize things in a table. That helps me understand it. So now I have an x value and a y value, an x value and a y value. So negative 2, 8, and 1, 2. So going from 8 to 2, that's a minus 6. Going from negative 2 to 1, that's a plus 3, because negative 2 plus 3 makes 1. So then my slope is going to equal negative 6 over 3. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Now that I have my m, I can use y equals mx plus b to find everything else. So y equals negative 2x plus b because m is equal to negative 2. And then I'm going to pick out two values from my table. I'm going to use these two because they're positive and small. So y is 2 and x is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And add 2 to both sides. Then we get b equals 4. So our slope is negative 2, and our y-intercept is 4. So A is our equation. Jennifer makes money for selling hats. The amount of money, M, is based on the number of hats, H, that she sells. So we know that M is for money and H is for hats. Here we have an equation. What does the 30 represent in that equation? So I see that the money is equal to 7 times the number of hats plus 30. And I need to think, what? Well, if hats is here, this 30 is money. I know that the y-intercept means like a starting amount. So I need to look at these answer choices and see which one makes sense. The number of hats that she sells, now we just said that this is money, so it can't be that. How much money she started with. Oh, look, start. We said it was about money, and we said it was a start. So I'm going to go with B. Let's just read the other ones to make sure, though. How much money she makes per hat. The amount of money she makes per hat is the 7, our slope. That's the per hat amount of money. And then D, how much money she has after she sells 7 hats. No, it's that starting amount. So B is correct. Last one, almost there. Alright, so we need to figure out which one of these is the correct answer, or the correct solution to this compound inequality. Now this thing's a little weird because I have an inequality symbol here and here. I'm just going to treat it like a 3-sided inequality, and here's what I mean by that. I want to get x by itself, so to do that I need to get rid of this minus 4 and get rid of this times 3. So I'm going to use inverse operations and add 4. That's a 4. Sorry, that looks weird. Notice that I added 4 to all 3 sides. Since there are 2 inequality symbols, that means that there's a left side, a middle side, and a right side. Now, negative 19 plus 4 is negative 15. Again, check with your calculator if that's confusing to you. And then 5 plus 4 is 9. Now I can divide everything by 3. Divide everything by 3. And I end up with negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. It's less than x. It is less than 9 divided by 3 is 3. So which one of these matches? Well, looks like there's only one. B.